Hello there. Let's talk about a rather serious subject, that of international terrorism. It's, in theory at least, a subject I know something about because I work for the Next Century Foundation. That's my day job, which is a foreign policy group that works in the Middle East, and I travel extensively in Iraq and Syria and indeed, well, all over the Middle East. Gaza, for example, where I know and have met and talked extensively to people whom most of us regard as terrorist leaders. One man's terrorist is often another man's freedom fighter. But there are exceptions, I suppose. There are cases where people are beyond the pale, where the targeting of civilians is the prime objective of an organization or an individual. And that is, of course, unforgivable. It's wrong, no matter what the cause, no matter what the agenda. The ends can never justify the means. It's not appropriate, in my view, to think that way. The means are everything. What you do and how you do it is what counts. So, that being said, I mean, where do we go faced in a world in which international terrorism is such a threat? We've seen the Paris attacks, we've seen the attacks in Belgium, we've had our own attacks in the past, the London bombings and so forth. Breaks your heart, doesn't it? Breaks your heart to see. Terrible, brutal things are being done in the Middle East too. In the name of what? In the name of freedom or what? I don't know what drives people to commit brutal atrocities. I've seen them. I've seen and met people who are proud of brutal and cruel actions they have done. I don't know what drives people to do this, but I do know that there is an element of dehumanizing involved, an element of lack of respect for the other that is at root the cause of international terrorism. And that's where we must watch ourselves, where we must guard against the same evil in some small degree possessing ourselves, because you don't fight hatred with hatred. To be honest, in my view, you fight hatred with love and compassion. That doesn't mean for one moment that you fail to stand up and be counted when faced with international terrorism. You must defend your people. You must defend your homeland. You must defend the precious cell of good living we have in the Southwest. I'm not saying for one moment that the Southwest is likely to be a target for international terrorism. Of course, it's most unlikely, apart from perhaps, well, I suppose there are the naval facilities in Plymouth, but by and large we have no obvious targets for international terrorists, thank God. But that said, Britain is targeted by these people. The world is targeted by these people. There's this philosophy of us and them, of you're either with us or you're against us, that possesses their hearts. What do we do about it? To build a safer world? Well, one thing is clear, our government needs to take political action as well as military action. It's no good if we just resort all the time to fighting fire with fire. We need a compassionate response, which involves real peace building, and especially in some of these nations where we created the problem. You look at Libya, where we brought about the downfall of Muammar Gaddafi. Now you have two, arguably three governments in one country, and the whole country is a thoroughfare for international refugees from the Horn of Africa coming up into Europe, risking their lives on boats. And we created that instability. I mean, nobody wanted or the government of Muammar Gaddafi to be supported by Britain, for example. But to bring about his downfall without thinking about the consequences was arguably irresponsible. But it's no good allocating blame. What do we do about it? Well, we have to take a role. Our nation has to take a role. Now, what am I doing talking about this as a candidate for Police and Crime Commissioner? It's not something I can directly affect. I mean, if I wanted to directly affect it, I should be standing for Parliament. But it is something that touches all our heart, and it is something that may impact the security of the Southwest. So I think we need to be conscious of the problem. Well, we are all acutely conscious of the problem, of course we are, but we need to be conscious of the need to respond to the problem, both with compassion for those areas affected, because these terrorists are coming out of areas of the Middle East which arguably we have destabilized. So we need compassion for those areas and the people in those areas who are themselves victim to international terrorism. People of Libya, the people of Syria, the people of Iraq. We need to express this in real and genuine concern, and the people of the Southwest have been wonderful in so doing. I mean, the wonderful generosity of people towards Syrian refugees, the aid that's gone out is astonishing. Charities like Shelterbox are really remarkable in the work they do. But we also have to have, I think we have a duty to be compassionate to the stranger in our midst, not to be infected by the same disease. We have to have loving hearts for all those who visit us, from whatever race, whatever nationality, whatever culture, and try and live with true dignity and true respect for all. That's what I think. And in terms of policing, I will, of course, be vigilant. I'm sure whoever is elected will be vigilant. Our police force is vigilant. In the Southwest, we have, well, some of the best policing in the world, in my view. And we will do what's necessary to keep the Southwest safe. It's a problem close to my heart, and believe you me, I will be paying special attention to this critical situation. God be with you, and God be with us all, and God be with this world we live in. It's a precious place, and we need to cherish it, keep it safe, and nurture it well. Thank you.